Hey guys, welcome back. It is day 5, and we were thinking we were going to get a ice storm of some sort. They were calling for some freezing precipitation. Thankfully, it did not come, so we're going to get our roof separated. For some reason, sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, and have the metal sales manufacturing split it into 2 bunks. When I don't remember, it means we've got to split it ourselves because obviously we don't want to put it all up in one one attempt. We want to split it for the weight on the scissor lift, because anything 48 wide and smaller, we put the steel up in the scissor lift and take it up. Anything bigger than 48, we use a plank and the telehandler to lift it up to the roof. Double check everything to make sure it's square. We've got to run our, what we call a mini angle. It covers the top of our fascia board. And then we come back behind it and mark out. Feels like a snow day, doesn't it? Kind of does. Yeah, it kind of does.
You want to go snowboarding?
I do. Then we come back after the mini angle's down and we mark out the layout of all of our steel. So we'll go 3-foot ones, back 16th, 9-foot one. So while we're down here laying out the bottom, Greg is up top running the top nailer row. That way we can stay parallel to the end. Make sure that we end in the same position. This is a 60-foot long roof, which means we can lay our ribs right on the edge of the roof, and we'll have one in the exact same spot on the other end, using up 20 panels to do the entire roof without any waste. So that's awesome. So once we get that marked out, we'll lay our closure strips. That's what we use to keep anything from, blowing wind or snow up into the building from the ribs out of the soffits. Now these are the closure strips that I'm talking about, and they match the profile of the steel real nice. That way they fill up the rib and the miners and they get squished down, creating a seal here on top of the flashing. That's about it. Once that's done, it's just on to roofing. Of course, I forgot to turn my boom mic on. I've got the new camera, which I'm using a boom mic on. Hopefully you guys can notice the difference in quality. I know I do, and hopefully it transpires. Maybe it doesn't matter too much, but this section here, we're showing how we start the first sheet of steel. Greg's got his fall protection on. We always come in at 8 foot in where that first truss is, so we can walk up it, be secure. The sheet of steel is going to balance you, and you just take your time and get up. Once we have that first one set on our marks and screwed down, it does get a lot easier, because at least you have something flat to work on, or at least semi-flat. Now you'll notice here as I bring the second sheet in, I've already got my leading edge of the first sheet right at 1.5 inches. I'm going to make sure that they're flush. I'm going to screw the back lap side first, then I'm going to come over to the siphon rib, which is the leading edge, and I'm going to make sure it's at 1.5 inches. If it's not, I have Greg move it one way or the other, because it probably means my fascia board is in or out in between the trusses, because remember, we made sure the trusses were straight with the string line. Now once I get that bottom row done, I can usually reach the second row, but we typically leave everything else until we're done laying all the sheets on the roof. So one of the questions that I always get is, do you punch the roof steel? And no, we don't punch the roof steel. What we do is we mark every purlin going down the sheet after we've laid it, and that way we basically connect the dots. And yeah, is it a laser straight line? No. It goes back to the whole, is it important? Is it worth it? And, this whole contractor saying like, it's good enough, it's up on the roof, nobody's going to see it except for the birds. There's some truth to that, in the sense that efficiency-wise, it really doesn't make sense to try to make a perfect straight line 20 feet up in the air. You do want to make it watertight. You want to make sure your screws hit all the purlins, which forces you to be as straight as possible. But you should, with experience, be able to cross a 3-foot panel with a straight line from point to point and make a pretty straight line. So if you've been watching any of the previous build series, you might see us use some fall protection on and off, and we're really making a concerted effort to use fall protection on every job. The problem is post-frame construction doesn't actually have a official OSHA approved fall protection system, and that's being worked on. I've actually talked with 3M and the National Frame Builders Association on that problem. But for now, what I've got is, this is a fall arrest anchor. This thing slips over the top cord of a truss and it locks in. And with our 2x10 top cord trusses, it's just like perfect. But we put this up at the peak, and the biggest thing is having this stanchion just up enough so that way our fall arrest system is above the roof and not like down in the framework, because our issue being that we have a purlin that's above our truss. So when we mount this and our purlin is about right here, we've still got this ring up above. So we put one of these about every 16 to 24 foot depending on the layout of the building. And I think I give about $30 a piece on these on Amazon. I'll throw the link down below if anybody's interested. But definitely, the older I get, the more I have to lose, like kids and a wife. I think more about safety. And it's just a good thing to do, is to be as safe as possible. But yeah, so I'll show you how we use these. There we go. So now that's locked in there nice, and that's what we will hook, well, our tether to for our auto retractables. We're about 24 feet away from that guy. This roof is about 26 foot, so we're kind of maxed out. We don't want our horizontal distance to get too much bigger, or we don't want it bigger than the distance from the peak down to the overhang. This is a contractor version 50-foot Fall Tech, and I'll go ahead and put the link to this. I bought this off of Amazon. I think I give around maybe somewhere in the $400 to $500. 50-foot retractable with the cable, and honestly, it's just a lot better than the ropes. We used to attach ropes, and that's what was so cumbersome and painful. You're always tripping over ropes. At least, even though you have this constant pull, right? I mean, that's what you kind of complain about the most.
Yeah, that's about it.
There's a constant pull, but I guess the good thing is if you were to fall, slip, it'll latch right inside. There's a mechanism that basically catches. So if it sees a quick fall, it's going to stop you automatically. So I get a lot of questions about what we were using for fall protection. These are, like I said, around $500. They weigh about, good Lord, I feel like they weigh about 50 pounds. And it's just got a quick release thing here, and that's what attaches to that bracket that we were just showing you. So I feel a lot better knowing that we're up here, and if we were to fall, at least we'd dangle and get made fun of for a little bit, but we would be living to see another day, right, Greg?
That's right.
Because we care about each other. Care about each other. Give me that. Now I already know I'm gonna get the question, why do you guys screw in the flats and not on top of the rib? And I'll be honest, the manufacturer's recommended screw pattern is in the flat. And unless you're gonna nail it, see, nails have more, I guess, pliableness to them. They're more bendable, they are more forgiving in movement. And with a post frame construction where the steel, the actual steel skin is your shear strength, it is your diaphragm, as in you're not using any plywood, there is movement in the building, and that stress on that fastener is better in the flat where it's nice and tight versus sitting up on the rib where there can be flex, because screws will break way before a nail breaks. Hence why, if you're using nails that don't really seal that well, they can work themselves out. You want to put them up on the rib to help aid in any leaking down the road, versus a screw with that neoprene washer is gonna do its job when done, you know, correctly, when you install it correctly. You know, you don't want to over tighten it, you don't want to under tighten it, but it is going to do the job and is going to give you a stronger diaphragm connection in the flat than on top of the rib. So that's why RR Buildings does it. Doesn't mean you have to. I would talk to your manufacturer and see what they think is best for you and your application. Now, I a screw all day, literally. We got a lot of screwing to do, but just for demonstration purposes, I just wanted to run some clips through. I've only used this, I think this is the second time ever, so I'm getting a little bit better. It does take a little bit getting used to. Let's go ahead and do a couple more screws. Also, we've marked this roof. Every sheet of steel gets marked so that we know where the purlins are. So I'm basically just connecting the dots. Well, we were able to get this side of roof done, and I'm pretty happy about that because it's pretty windy. We had some misty, snowy, icy crap come through and took us off the roof for just a short while, but we were able to get back up. That stopped. So now once this side is done, I feel really good about, you know, having this building partially locked down. The roof diaphragm is a big part of the strength in the building. We still will keep our chains up. We've got all those angle braces we put up yesterday, but we're gonna have to do either a little bit of grade work on the north side of the building, the other side in order to roof, or I'm gonna have to bring in my boom lift, which I'll probably end up bringing the boom lift in due to frozen ground. It's kind of hard to work it and make it level for us when it's frozen. So one surefire way to check and see if you made sure that your building was square and you did a good job laying that roofing is by having that nice straight line down your fascia. And I've referenced how we've done that in past videos, so if you are curious on how exactly you make your roof line straight, check out, I do believe it is the Man Cave series, and when we are roofing I kind of explain the whole 1.5 inch push and pull the sheet to straighten it out. So right here behind me is the front end wall, and there's supposed to be a window right in the middle of this 12-foot section. However, when laying out the building, we really needed a post somewhere in there, and instead of adding 2 posts, one on each side of the window, I went ahead and put it right through the middle, and then what we're going to do is a little bit of a special detail header on this window. So on all of our other windows, we've measured down from this girt, which is told on our story pole to be the exact same height on every post, and we've come through and we've measured down 19 inches. So the top of my window is at 19 inches down from this girt up here, but what I've got to do is I got to add or subtract, however you want to look at it. I got to go up 3 inches, 1.5 inches for my window frame and another 1.5 inches for the thickness of my stiffener that's going to go at the bottom of the header. And I'll do the same thing at the bottom. I'll go to 19 inches, I'll go 36 down, and then add another 3 inches for the thickness of my window frame box and the stiffener at the bottom of the window. So the next thing I'll do is I'll cut that post out so that I can run my stiffeners from the door jamb post to the corner post. Oh, okay, because you were singing really annoying and then you started singing fairly like you were trying to do a good job. Like, I mean, if that's what you really want to do, sing your heart away, man.
You gotta warn me.
I did warn you.
Huh?
I just warned you.
Before you started.
Hey, you know, a lot of people find their singing career on YouTube, Greg.
You got that snow on the bottom. Snug.
You mean perfect.
I say snug. That guy, he's on.
Well, it's getting dark. I'm not able to finish this window right this minute because I gotta get off site. I gotta go, got some other priorities I've got to take care of, and it's 5 o'clock, so I hate leaving little tasks unfinished, but that's the way it's going to be. We got that first side of roof on. We did a lot of grade work so we can hopefully get the lifts around. Probably gonna have to bring my boom lift tomorrow so that we can be a little bit more efficient, and then we'll get that north side of roof on, hopefully wrap up soffit fascia, maybe start even putting some house wrap, wainscot. Who knows? I think once we get through this site issues and get that roof on, it's going to go a lot quicker on the outside because there's really not a whole lot of detail work on this one. There's the 2 overhead doors, a couple windows, and 1 walk door. So I'm assuming the next couple days, if the weather cooperates, there's going to be a lot happening. That being said, doesn't mean it's going to be a boring one. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button so you follow along with the rest of the build. Definitely leave me a comment if you got any feedback on the videos, and hit a thumbs up, hit that bell, get notified, all that good stuff so we can keep being friends here on the YouTube. So we'll see you guys later.